my first love. You're my first
Hello everyone and welcome to the preview stream for the 12th round of the 2015 CRC World Championship. After another 3-week break, CRC has headed to the Red Bull Ring for the 12th round of the 2015 Championship, and it's certainly shaping up to be an interesting championship. I'm hoping that we will have James in the stream shortly. I've messaged him to ask if he's going to be available, if he's going to be able to do it. Not sure yet whether he's going to be there, but he said he's on his way now, so we should have James in a minute. Obviously, we've got what could be a very interesting weekend here in CRC. We're just awaiting James to go, and then we can start discussing for real. Whilst I'm waiting, I'm going to give you a rundown of the standings. Where it's Alex Moores who currently leads the standings on 133 points, ahead of Will Essie on 102, with Toby Jones in third on 92, with Hannah Duran in fourth on 86, and Chantal Hawkins fifth on 78. Dan Milner is in sixth on 65, ahead of Lucy Woodward, who's having a very impressive season, on 54. Jack Bowen is in 8th on 53, with Kieran Hardy in 9th on 51. Level Will Buchan on 51. Matt Coombs is currently in 11th on 45, with Tom Mongold in 12th on 44. Matthew Tewson in 13th. What a terrible season he's had, on 38, with James Humphreys in 14th on 37, with Lucas Quintanilla rounding out the top 10, not top 15, on 32 for DMAD. But it's going to be a very interesting remainder of the season. We're still waiting for James. He's just getting everything sorted out, I think. I think might as well call him just to see if he's ready. Call's getting through, which is a good sign. He might be ready. But it's going to be very interesting for the remainder of the season. At the moment, we've got 6 drivers who have participated in every race who haven't scored yet. Tom Farris-Smith, Chloe Carter, George Chandler, Harry Williams, James Casey and Elliot Everson. Which, obviously, Carter, I think we should see score points this year. Farris-Smith, I'm not so sure. He's not really had a good year, but he is just whether he's going to be able to get back on track. But we're still waiting for James. I'm not sure. He's probably having some problems with his microphone or something like that, because he said he was on his way. And we got James in the chat now.
Hello.
A bit late, but it's good because we've now got you in the chat. What can you see happening this weekend?
It's almost been like a second summer break that we've seen with this delay for this race. So there has been a lot of work probably going on in the team, so we could see a change in the order. But as always, we probably expect Yana Taroka to be the fastest. Hopefully, less problems with back markers this time.
Yep. One thing that could cause a bit of interest is this start clampdown this weekend. They've banned launch control now, so all the drivers will be doing their launches manually. How do you think that's going to go?
It'll obviously mean that there's a wider range in starts. It's most of the season it's been the grid staying roughly the same into turn one, but this means that there could be a change in it. But expect the cars that normally do well to probably do well again, but even better possibly. Obviously they have a good traction, so taking away launch control might make that an even bigger advantage, but on the same hand they might have a better launch control. So
yeah, there is also a driver change this weekend, is because Luke Julian is driving in place of Oscar Minter. How do you think he's going to do?
Well, hopefully, if he doesn't have any problems in FP1, he'll be able to bring some points for CGP. Von der Gaar's been doing a really good job getting points in the other seat, but Minto's had 3 DNFs in 4 races, and it's been a really dismal end to his CRC career for the time being. He might return, but for the time being, not a very good end to his career. Julian will just be hoping to get points, I guess.
Yeah, and also we're going to have 29 cars this weekend. That's providing Luke Julian can start, because David Bland received a race ban. What did you make of that?
Fair enough. He's been involved in so many incidents this year, and
he took out Alex Moores from the lead.
Yeah, and that was blatantly his fault. And he's just been a problem all season really with these incidents, and it doesn't get any better for him because I think his penalty that he was due to have, which was a back of grid 20-second penalty, I think that carries over to Belgium, does it, as well as this?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So 2 races that are just complete pointless now for him. So really not good for him at all.
Yeah. He has caused quite a lot of incidents this year. But also another thing, Wesley is on 9 penalty points. If he caused an incident that gets 3 penalty points, that could cause some problems.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it wouldn't be too much of a problem for him because he's not scoring any points anyway. But, yeah, obviously, if he wants to get back in the championship, missing a race is not going to be good. So he's got to keep his nose clean to A, get points, and B, not to get penalty points.
Yep. Where can you see there being overtaken this weekend around this track?
Turn 1 is obviously, you've got the DRS going there, but that's a pretty hard place to overtake. You could see overtaking there, but it's reasonably difficult there. Turn 2's a big braking zone after a long straight, so I reckon that'll be the main overtaking zone. And obviously the first middle sector, you're probably not going to get through there, and you're not going to get round at the end, so it's all going to be those first 3 corners probably where you're going to see them moving after long straights into braking zones.
Yep. It's going to be interesting. Obviously, 71. It's a short track, so it's going to be very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, we had Zandvoort, which was a very short track, and it means more laps, more carnage.
Yeah.
More chance for carnage.
And also, now let's talk about the driver market for 2016. Because I think the big news that we heard over this break is that Phoebe O'Connor will be driving for RTS next year. Do you think she deserves that seat?
Oh, most definitely. She's been fantastic this season in CGP2, and it's good to see that she's not only getting into CRC, but with a good team as well. RTS have been good this season, and not amazing, but they've got a good chance next season to get some more good results. So I reckon she's done a good job of getting that seat, and she most definitely deserves it.
Yeah, because Do you remember at the beginning of this year, she was actually offered the drive at Speedtech, which Elliot Everson got, but she turned it down because she wanted to spend a year in CGP2 and drive for a bigger team, and that has clearly worked, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, most great decision I think I've ever seen. Really, she gets a CGP2 championship and a better seat.
Well, not quite yet, but
well,
she's. But also now, where does this leave RCS? Because now they're going to have to drop one of their drivers.
yeah, and they've obviously got a decision whether to keep experience with Louise Morrow or go with the potential of James Humphreys. I personally would go with Morrow. She's been very good this season, and although Humphreys got a win, Morrow's also had a win in Monaco. Slightly more fortunate, I guess, but has had some really good results, especially Hungary. She looked really good and generally has outperformed Humphreys, so I would stick with her. But I'm not sure what they're going to do.
And also, the other big news is Jack Baldwin deciding to move to Formula E next year, and he's not going to be on the CRC grid. Where now this leaves a space open at Quintana, doesn't it?
Yeah, and there's Godot have got a lot of options. They could either try and reunite Kieran Hardy and Matt Tusson together, or they could go with one of their young drivers, like Ellen Oakley. But I don't really think that any of the young drivers are really ready. So I think that they're going to try and sign someone already in the sport. And you'd probably say Matt Tusson, but there's a lot of other options that they could take.
Yeah,
or
and also
someone from CGP2.
And also the trouble with Tucson is it's not that he doesn't get along with Hardy or anything, but the bad history he's had with being teammates with Hardy, the fact that Hardy was very much favoured by Mossert in 2012, despite the fact that Matthew Tucson kind of outperformed him. Do you think that could affect Tucson's willingness to go there?
Yeah, and I mean, he's really trying to turn over a new leaf in his career by leaving Coombs, and I think he would probably try and go to somewhere completely different to what he's previously, because he's been at a lot of teams near the grid, and you might want to try and bring a team forward from the back. You might want to try and do that instead.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting because he did say he does expect to be racing on the CRC grid next year. He does expect to be racing, but he doesn't know where yet. So that's going to be very interesting. Now, regarding the rest of the grid, do you think that the fact that there's been all these changes is going to change anything in the driver market?
Yeah, I think it's going to mix it up quite a bit.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to. We've still got quite a few more seats that need to be filled, quite a few more seats, and we don't know who they're going to go to. But it's going to be very interesting. But the other thing we also heard was there's going to be a new format regarding CGP2 and CGP3. How do you think that's going to go?
Yeah, I think that's a good format. It prepares them more, I suppose, for CRC. It's a little bit more realistic in terms of how the weekend is structured. So yeah, I think that's a good change.
Because now there's going to be a single CGP3 race on the Fridays and a single CGP2 race on the Saturdays, with qualifying immediately prior to it. Do you think that was a good decision by the organisers?
Yeah, definitely. It's easier to for people to get viewing as well, because a lot of people will watch CRC, but it's about getting the viewing for that CGP2 and CGP3 as well, all in a clump on an evening. It is good. I think that's a really good decision. It's a lot more convenient for people to watch and for the drivers as well, I suppose.
And also, what I forgot. Oh yeah, I just momentarily forgot what I was going to say. But also, this now means that CRC is going to be the only race that's going to take place on a Sunday. Do you think that's going to affect how the drivers prepare?
Yeah, I suppose they could get. It might not change it too much, though. Actually, I suppose they're not going to be too worried about the other races. They're going to be concentrating as they were before, I guess. So actually, I don't think it will change it that much, I guess. But it obviously is a little bit different.
Yeah. Now let's actually talk CGP2 this weekend, because Obviously, O'Connor had a bad weekend last time out, didn't she?
Yeah, and it was strange to see that I said that a bad weekend had to come at some point, and it did. And not only was it one race she struggled in, both races were a nightmare because um, she started right down on the grid, and she had an okay race one, but she didn't get into the points. And then race two, she didn't get any points either. So yeah, just a really bad weekend. Unfortunately for O'Driscoll and Leggett, they didn't really take too many points out of her. O'Driscoll only got 19 points, and
But Leggett drove well on the Sunday race, didn't she?
yeah, and it was a good result, I suppose, considering what had happened to her. But still, 10 points isn't really much in the championship. 30 points is the gap, and I suppose there is a chance. Actually, it's a little bit closer than I first thought. But yeah, it's still comfortable for O'Connor. And Quinn Bayliss is the one making the moves up the field at the moment, but he's 37 points behind. So
Yeah. We've got a driver change this weekend as well, haven't we, in CGP2 at the eBay Motors team? You take us through it, James.
Yeah, Catherine Missal is coming for the very, very underperforming Ryan Price.
Do you think it was the right decision that Price got dropped?
Almost definitely. He got points in Monaco, but that was it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone could have got points in Monaco, you just had to finish the race. Bit like the F1.
Yeah. Just like what happened there where I crashed out from the lead. And lost a certain win. But also, the interesting thing is, obviously, Missal's coming in. Obviously, any normal rookie would come in with just themselves to prove. But she's in a completely different situation, because look who she's got as her teammate for the remainder of the season. The championship leader, who's running away with the championship at the moment. Do you think that's going to benefit her a bit?
Yeah, hopefully for her. It means that she's
Got
obviously
that
she's
supporting
got a
role.
higher thing to aim at than most drivers. So say if you're, for example, you join Power Max, you've got to beat Jade Oaks. But if you join eBay Motors, you set the bar higher for you to try and beat your teammates. So it's good for her. Hopefully, it doesn't mean that she is really disappointed by the performance when she can't beat O'Connor. But it does mean that she gives herself a real big challenge, and that could work out for her if she has the right mindset.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, eBay Motors. We don't know how well she's going to do, but obviously eBay Motors want two drivers who will score points on a consistent basis. But now looking towards. But also the other thing regarding next year in CGP2 is the grid being expanded to 30 cars. All 13 of the current teams have confirmed their place on next year's CGP2 grid. Who can you see taking up the last two spots?
I think Baronessa have had a lot more of involvement this season since IFOS F1 took over, and I think they'll try and get a team in. About the other one, I'm not sure. Obviously, Manic Motorsports might want to do one, but
they already run Amlin Fox.
Yeah, they've already got Amlin Fox, so yeah, I don't know. They might rebrand that team, but that's not a new team, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. So now let's talk CGP3, obviously, because that's this weekend as well. But that's going to be... But where can you see that race going?
Well, I've said every single week I've been on this program, I've said, well, Reece Jeffries is going to dominate. But he keeps on having problems. He managed to win this weekend. He had a good, solid weekend this time round. But the two races before that, he had quite a lot of problems. Then, although he still leads the championship, he needs to work on his consistency a bit. But yeah, I would imagine he should win if he gets pole, and then just has a clean race. But he'll have challenges from Janet Blake has been a very, very improved driver recently. And although she had a pretty terrible Netherlands, she was very strong in Hungary. And obviously Wimbley, And Alex Chittock as well, moving his way up, challenging, and possibly Daniel McDonald as well, but he's been pretty diabolical recently, actually.
Yeah, we've got a driver change in CGP3 as well. You take us through that.
We have Santiago Fernandez taking over at Silver Speed from
Jacob Arnish.
Jacob Arnish is being dropped, who has definitely underperformed. Although he's done better than Corey McLennan, so that's a bit of an interesting move. But it probably makes sense. Jacob Arnish hasn't really set the world on fire, so it's worth trying Santiago out.
Yep. How do you think he's going to do?
Well, it's hard to tell. But as we've been saying about these bars, setting your bars high, there's no one really to set your bars that high. I suppose Miles Hanneman has had a solid season. No, he hasn't had a solid season. He's been rather inconsistent actually, but he's doing okay in the standings. So yeah, set your bar there. I reckon Santiago will probably try and be the fastest silver speed out there. I think he'll aim for that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to get going. But also, I'm hearing right now that there is more controversy going around about young drivers in CRC or in CRC related series. After the Formula Renault race last time out, people are still going around and going on about how drivers from like the primary school ages should not be allowed to participate. What do you make of that?
Well, I just don't get it. If they want to participate, let them. To be honest, I think it's discrimination from these people. They just want to make sure that they don't have challenges. A lot of the complaints have been coming from actual drivers themselves, which I just don't get. Surely they want competition, but apparently not. So, yeah, I just don't get it. But McLaren's doing a great job. I know that that's where it's been directed towards. She's doing a great job, and there's no need to have a go at her. So she should be here because she won the last race. So
In Formula Renault,
good enough to be in.
yeah.
Oh yeah, in Formula Renault, obviously CGP3. Should be
Yeah.
in, but, yeah.
And and as a driver, do you think you'd be quite affected by all of that when you go out onto the track?
Yeah, obviously as well. That's the kind of age where you would be more affected by it. So it's really unfair to be targeting those drivers. But you just got to keep a cool head about it. And actually, you could use it to your advantage. It could really affect you thinking, oh, you're nervous about overtaking anyone because you know you've got massive criticism and you hit them. But it could affect you positively, giving you that extra determination to go out and beat them.
But the pressure is, if you're behind someone and you hit someone, that criticism is going to get higher.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So you've got to be careful in that respect. But in the same respect, just go for it. Drive like you normally would. Don't listen to these stupid drivers.
Yeah. And also, where's the CGP3 rebellion got to after Valencia?
I think it's died down a little bit. I'm not really sure exactly.
After the dogs were sent into the commentary box.
Yeah, they keep on saying those dogs, but I don't think that's having quite the effect that they really need. I think they need to maybe hack the KSR Twitter or something like that.
That would be weird. But anyway, we do have to wrap up. We've not really got much else to talk about regarding this weekend, but we are going to see if we can talk about a few more things. But as I was saying, going back to that, because you saw Max Verstappen in Monaco, when he hit the back of Grosjean and hit the wall, everyone was like, he's too young, he shouldn't be racing. Before he absolutely owned Felipe Massa. That was funny. But the thing about these young drivers is they're very ragged, aren't they?
Yeah.
They always go for moves and go for opportunities. And I can see that the CGP3 Rebellion has hacked the KSR Twitter.
Oh, what a surprise. I didn't see that one coming.
Just after you mentioned it.
Ironic, isn't it?
And I wonder what's going to happen here. But Anyway, it's time. I think we might need to wrap up now. We've not really got much else to talk about, so we're now going to give you a rundown of the times. These are all provisional, but we've got times. The weekend will get underway tomorrow at 15:30 GMT with practice 1. Or actually 16:00 GMT with practice 1. No, it's 15:30 GMT. I got my timetable mistaken. With CGP2 practice at 16:30. Then on Friday at 16:00 we have free practice 2. With 16:50 we have the CGP2 qualifying, and at 18:00 we have the CGP3 practice. On Saturday morning at 8 in the morning we have CGP3 qualifying with CRC FP3 at 9:20. The CRC Classics qualifying at 11:10. The CRC qualifying gets underway at 13:00 with CGP2 at 14:45. And the CGP3 race is at 16:15 to end Saturday's action. On Sunday morning, it will kick off with the CGP3 at 9 in the morning with CGP2 at 10:30, CRC Classics at 12, and the CRC race gets underway with lights out at 3 in the afternoon. It's going to be an interesting one. We're expecting a dry weekend this weekend, apart from with maybe a possible light rain shower on Friday. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this stream. It's been me, it's been James.
Yep.
And we'll see you tomorrow for practice 1. Goodbye.